One of the big questions that I always get are what were the early years like with my wife when she was beginning her alcoholic career? And this is the first time seeing me while I was married for 25 years, and my wife passed away from alcohol use disorder a little over 4.5 years ago. And in the early years when we were first going out, even before we got married, I mean, she did have a consistent habit of drinking wine. Usually it was a couple glasses, and I chalked it up to family culture because when I met her family, it made a lot more sense. They drank wine with dinner. But what I did not understand at the time, that there was a consistency there. And if not having grown up in an alcoholic family or where family culture where alcohol was normalized, it was a whole new world for me that I just simply was woefully ignorant. And I think a lot of family members are, and why would you be unless you grew up in an environment? Consistency, okay, is a big issue because those couple glasses of wine, which were her reward system at the end of the day, became bottles, within a year or two of our, even in our early marriage. And it was really just part of who she was. I mean, she drank wine at night, and it was 5, 6, 7 days a week. A bottle, it was, a 0.75 liter bottle. And then eventually it became a 1.75 liters, probably 8, 10 years into the marriage. It didn't really hurt her physically for quite some time. But anybody going down that road, consistency is a huge, huge red flag. And even in the early years, I mean, there were periods where she had binged too much. When maybe we had some friends over, when we had our house on the water in Canyon Lake, we'd have maybe a Halloween party or a Christmas party, and she would overdo it. And she would kind of, go through the hangover and the detox thing on a smaller scale. And that always was a concern for me. I mean, when you're praying to the porcelain god, it's not a normal part of your daily activity. And if you have somebody in your life who is doing that, I mean, they're having horrible hangovers. I mean, more so than the average. You would think a normal person would go through a hangover. It's because they've been drinking a whole heck of a lot more than you're aware of because they've been hiding the alcohol. And it's so important to be able to point that out and then take action with intervention and with conversation. Now, no matter what the relationship, I mean, if you're a child and you have a parent that's going through this, you're a parent, you have a child going through this, you have a good friend, it's a spousal relationship, it's important to not let this elephant in the room get bigger and bigger and bigger until you can't even breathe in the room, okay, before you're all walking on eggshells. It's so important to have the conversation, broach the conversation. Look, I think you have a drinking problem. You've been drinking every day since I can even remember. It's a problem. And if you don't think it is, well, it's a problem in our relationship because I have a problem with it and I'm in the relationship. So maybe you should listen to it. And if they're gaslighting or deflecting, well, you got a bigger problem because they can't even own it. And you have to get to the point where the one who has developed this disorder, they have to own the disorder before they can move forward and really seek help and to get help. And a lot of people ask me, if she drank when she was pregnant with our son. Well, she was pregnant in 1999. Our son was born in March of 2000. She did not drink for about 10 months. I always say, my head always goes off to her because it was extremely important. And I wish, and I remember my hope at the time was that she wouldn't continue, but she ended up picking it up again shortly thereafter, and she was unable to breastfeed. Just I think for some natural reason, and my son was really raised on they call it formula, so that wasn't an issue. So it allowed her to drink, shortly after he was born. And as I remember, the consistency really started right up again, within 5 or 6 months of him being born, which is unfortunate. But you think that amount of time, but I don't think she ever dealt with the core issue. And no matter what stage the person's in, usually a stage 2 is consistency. That's the consistent stage when you've created this, daily function of drinking as a reward system or as a stress or as an answer to anxiety or some kind of trauma, or if you're just immersed in culture or it's part of your hereditary issue or any one of these combinations of things, ADHD, PTSD, whatever the stress or the anxiety that's creating this alcohol consistency. This is the point when you have the highest probability of getting help, and the highest probability of nipping it in the bud. This is when it's time to go to AA meetings, smart recovery meetings, go to group counseling, and really, involve yourself in a community of connection, and get somebody who can hold you accountable. Be around people that know what to do and where to go. And it's one of the big reasons why I started my coaching program, because it becomes a one-on-one. And I think it's essential to have one-on-one counseling. So many people don't really want to get into a group setting, and they're not there yet. And you need kind of that. You really need somebody that can take you and hold your hand, and set up really a life coach and a coach to get you through this process. Somebody who's already been there. That's really what I do. And when you're ready to set up a Zoom call with me, with your family, because it's a family disease, I really always like to involve members of the family. It's essential to get everybody's input. It's important because it's not just the alcoholic in your family, it's the entire family. Zoom call is the breakthrough call. Link is in my bio. Go to the link tree, and then it's right there. It's right on the top of the 3 that are available. Set up a Zoom call, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. We do a deep dive into what's going on with you, and then we go over the program. The call is free. The program's definitely not. And it's not a call just to find out information. It's not a call just to talk and get some free information. That's not what the function of it is. The function it is, I'm looking for people who are ready to move forward with their lives, because they've tried a lot of other things. And it's also for the family. And again, thanks so much for listening.